Hey friends, it's time for another revelation conversation. Today's focus is going to be on unconditional love. That is a theme that continues to present itself to me, and I continue to have opportunities to practice what unconditional love means and to put it into like my everyday life. And so I thought I'd share with you. So I'm still working on this Beyond Illusions Caleb Birch book, and I've already passed this one, but it keeps coming back up about unconditional love. And she says unconditional love arises from a space where we no longer see others as separate entities, but extensions of ourselves. It's a love that is not contingent on behavior, action, or conditions. It's a recognition of the inherent worth and divinity in each individual, regardless of their external actions. And so I've been really thinking about that. And here are some of the conclusions I'm coming to. I can unconditionally love someone, and this is what it's looking like these days. I can finally see the light in people's eyes and understand them from their perspective, even when they may be behaving in a way that is not healthy for them or the people around them. And unconditional love is, for me, still loving that person, although they may be doing something that I disagree with, and or they may be trying to inflict their own pain and suffering and manipulation onto you. You can still love them and not take that on yourself. You can still see them portraying a negative behavior like gaslighting or negative self-talk or whatever it might be, and look at them and say, I see you. I see why you're doing what you're doing. I am not going to take that on as my story. I'm sorry that you feel the need to do those things. I hope that you can find a way to heal yourself and realize your worth. Because I realize their worth, right? I can see their worth, but it doesn't matter how much I see their worth or how much I unconditionally love them. I am just an example to them. They have to choose independently and as an individual to love themselves unconditionally despite their circumstances, and also rationalize for themselves that the position that they're in that is now projecting these behaviors has a lot to do with the stories that they're telling themselves about experiences that they have had in the past. And they have allowed those experiences now to affect them and their own perspective of themselves and how much they are loved and or worthy. And so they're projecting that out into the world. And so I can stand in my own solidarity. I can love them for where they're at. I can allow that to not impact my narrative or my perspective about myself, and I can still literally love them for where they're at and allow them the space and time needed to come to their own conclusions. And literally love them anyways. That's what unconditional love means to me lately. And I'm going to be honest, I recognize that a lot of people have done that for me, because I personally allowed my past experiences to impact my here and now, and acted out in what I would call toxic behaviors, because I had given myself a narrative that I was unworthy, unlovable, abandonable. And that's not the truth, right? That is just a story we tell ourselves because somebody else couldn't love themselves, and so they did those things. And then I took that story on and started to believe it. But I believe like I've walked over a threshold somehow, and I can now see the other side of let them own their own story and don't take that on yourself. And when people are spouting off things to you about who they think you are or how they feel about you, that has a lot to do with them. And hear them and decide for yourself, do I believe those things about myself? And not to say we're all perfect. I think we are who we are in the moment that we are there. And to take into consideration, are there areas that I would like to make different choices and react differently in the future? Of course there are. There's always opportunity to make a different choice and to develop a different narrative. But I get to decide that and own that, and that nobody else can ever make me feel less than or smaller or unworthy other than myself. And recognizing that within other people as well. That when they are acting out based on fear and trauma, it's because they have adopted those stories for themselves. And until they believe something different and or recognize their worth, those things will continue to perpetuate. But I now see that one of my higher purposes, or one of my purposes in this world, is to be an example for others and still unconditionally love people when they're going through the trenches. I don't have to actively engage or correct or fix or do any of those things. I can just look at them and say, I see you, I love you, I support you. If you need my help, let me know. I'm glad to be there. And if not, that's okay too, but I still love you anyways. Let it be so. Namaste.